free.
What's up, guys? So we're gonna go through the constitution of the Man's League. I figured if I made a video, then it would be a lot easier for everybody to watch instead of us all going through it together in person. First, I want to start off by just calling out the payouts, which has been locked in for until 2016. So obviously the man entry fee is $100. So now we're a 1K league. First place gets $400, the championship T-shirt, and rights for the trophy for the year. Second place gets $200. Third place gets free entry for the following year. And then the next place would be the fancy playoff challenge. So that's at the end of the season through NFL.com, and that's $50 winner take all. Also, in week 17, we'll be having Pro Bowl teams from here on out, and I'll explain that a little bit more in detail, but it's $50 payout, $10 an owner, and that'll most likely be paid out, and then an event will be planned to go out to dinner. And then for performance category, high score of the week, that's $130 payout, so $10 a week since we have 13 regular season games. High score of the season, the biggest score of the season, is $10. So you'll already get the $10 for the high score of the week, and then $10 on top of that, so it's a total of $20. And then the honors bracket, best overall record is $10. MVP, the player that scored the most points in the league, $15, and then most points for $15. So a little added bonuses for those, and that's locked in until 2016. Alright, so we'll start on the Man's League Constitution, and I'll kind of go through a lot of this quickly, and then other things that might be a little confusing, I'll go ahead and go through detail. So Article 1, Section 1, the Man's League is interactive, involved, and serious fantasy football league. We all know this. This league is better than most. Caleb came up with our tagline for that. Members should commit for a lifetime. John's our new guy. Welcome for a lifetime, buddy. Section 2, the Man's League Commissioner has final ruling on all and any situations. Not all things are put to a league vote, and council members are who the Commissioner selects at any point that are deemed worthy of helpful judgment. So I will have final say in majority of things, and the league has a voice, but that voice is not the final answer. Section 3, the Commissioner is and always will be, so you guys can never overthrow me. He has the right to apply or veto any proposal. If there is to be found merit in anything, it will be discussed with the council members. So if something's brought to my attention, I'm pretty reasonable, and I'll talk to the council members, who right now are Mark and Cody. For the most part, every once in a while I'll have somebody else chime in, like John, as soon as he has got a couple of years under his belt. But otherwise, if there's something that we can discuss, then we'll go forth with it. Article 2, Section 1. Owners must be present at the draft. Only certain extreme cases will be under review. Payments and fees must be submitted prior to draft. Alright, so we're going to be attaching PayPal for our fees and rewards. So I know it's going to be a pain in the butt to set this up the first time, but after this, it'll be really easy for all the following years, and it'll be really easy just to send in money and receive money at the end of the year. And then also be present at draft. We've always been in-person draft. Only extreme certain cases. I'm talking if it was your wedding day, and everybody else could be at the draft, and it was your wedding day. Then maybe we'll figure something out. Section 3, we do an unconventional draft. We repick draft picks every 2 rounds, so it's not a full snake. And after the Constitution's in place for this year, week 16, everybody will be playing for first and second round draft picks, and I'll explain that a little bit as we go. Article 3, Section 1. There is to be absolutely no collusion. Collusion is a secret agreement, especially for fraudulent or treacherous purposes. conspiring, or breaking any of the rules of the Constitution. Section 2, there are no tiebreakers. If it is playoffs, higher seed is the tiebreaker. FCC tie situation will be ruled on by the commissioner and the councilman. So if you get a tie, which we have in place, fractional point scoring, it'll be real tough to get any kind of tie. So if it does end up a tie, it's a tie. Section 3, teams that fail to set up lineups repeatedly will not play the following year. Teams are expected to have a profile picture as well. So I know a lot of you, it's super simple, guys. The profile picture, you just pick a picture and you just upload it. A lot of times it'll be just right off the web. If you want to use the letters that they already have provided, like Mike uses the red M and the black, he likes those colors. I mean, that's fine. At least you have something. So at least have something on there. Moving on. Article 4, Section 1, Part A. There are no multi-team trades. It's 1-to-1 only, so you can't do three-way with 3 different owners. There's no conditional trading and no multi-week trades. So no conditional trading means if you win this week, then you'll get this. If you lose this week, you'll get that. It's just straight up. Makes things a lot less complicated and less likely of committing collusion. So, and then no multi-week trades. So if this week this happens, then the next week I'll trade you this guy. We're not doing that stuff. Once a trade occurs, the player received are not allowed back to the original team's roster for 2 weeks, including the use of add or drops. So if Cody was to trade me Anquan Boldin, I would have to hold on to Anquan Boldin for a minimum of 2 weeks before I could trade it back to Cody. Now I could trade Anquan Boldin to anybody else, and if I decide to drop Anquan Boldin, Cody could not pick him up for 2 weeks. That is pretty clear. Section 3, no one shall veto as long as both teams feel they are improving their team and no collusion is sensed. So with these additional rules put in for, trading and adding and acquisitions, there should be a lot less vetoes. And obviously, if you're going to be trading, Drew Brees for, some rookie guy that doesn't even have a roster spot on an NFL team, then obviously, it's going to get vetoed. But for the most part, I think we're bright enough to figure that out. Section 4, all trades are pushed through for Sunday if made by 3 p.m. on Saturday. Trade review time is 24 hours. Owners are expected to respond to trade offers within 48 hours. So during the season, it's pretty easy to make sure you just log in once every 2 days, whether it's the Man's Wall or ESPN. And then review time is 24 hours, so if you have a trade going through, it'll go through within 24 hours, unless the time stated, if it's on Saturday, they'll get pushed through. Section 5, multiple player trades are allowed, however, you must trade something for something. So I kind of already touched on this, so you couldn't trade Drew Brees for Greg Little. Obviously, that's just not gonna work. So, for example, you can't say, that'd be also multi-week trading if you traded, a trade and you said, well, in the couple weeks, then I'll also give you Drew Brees for Greg Little. Well, you can't do that either. Section 6, there are no limits on the amount of add or drops for a season, so unlimited. Section 7, there is no trading of draft picks. There's a lot of reasons behind that, and we're not going to go into that, but there is no trading draft picks. Article 5, Section 1. No team shall ever throw a game. Every team must be competitive every week, meaning putting their best players on the field. Now, this can be kind of a gray area, but generally, we've put enough rules in place where nobody would want to throw a game. So it wouldn't make any sense to, but yeah, you want to be competitive every year, and obviously if you throw in a game, it's going to look bad, and especially if you might come up with questions of maybe they have a deal under the table with somebody else. So just don't go that route. And then I'm going to cut this, and actually we'll just keep going here. Section 2, owners should check in twice a week during the season to the league page and Facebook for information, updates, and keeping in touch with other members. Kind of touched that with already reviewing trade offers within 48 hours. Section 3, third place and FCC Fantasy Challenge Champ winners receive a draft ticket. Well, that's going to be altered a little bit since FCC basically gets half draft ticket, so they'll get the they'll just get $50 cash, and third place will obviously get the free entry. If Section 4, if any member quits during or before they do not receive any kind of winnings, the commissioner will rule on specific cases. So if we get somebody who quits on us mid-season or during the season for some reason, they get upset, pissed, whatever, they're not eligible for any winnings whatsoever. So if they quit setting their lineup, or if it's obvious that they're throwing games, they don't get any of the winnings whatsoever, even if they had a couple high weeks for high score weeks for $10 a piece or whatever that looks like. And then we'll talk about how that'll get paid out to maybe the champion or something like that. Section 5, trash talking is allowed and encouraged. This is the Man's League, we know that. Article 6, Section 1, the scoring system that the software has set will be the scoring bracket unless otherwise stated. This also includes roster requirements. So obviously, if you've been reading the Third and Long, you'll also know, for the 2012 season, what that looks like. Section 2, Week 8, the Neighbors Law is enforced. It states that teams can only do trades among teams that are within 3 spots of each other overall standings. Week 11, there are no more trades. So once Week 8 hits, whatever your overall standing, you can only trade with teams that are within 3 roster spots of each other. And that goes both ways. So if you're at the top, you can only make trades with people that are second and third. If you're at the bottom, you can only make trades with people that are 9, 8, 7. So three spots. And then if you're right in the middle, then you get 3 spots on both sides. That just makes it so that not at the end of the season somebody else is already getting the top that's giving the bottom, and that's for obvious reasons. Week 11, there's no more trades. That's because Week 13 basically is the end of the season, so there's no reason for you to drop players because you're going to need them for Week 16 to get a good draft pick anyways. Section 3, Saco is assigned to worst team for the regular season. They must also change their team name to Saco and can only change it when they win a game the following season. So John is taking over the Saco team, which sadly, he's a fresh owner, but he is taking over the Patty franchise. So he is taking over the Saco team. So John, sorry, but you're going to have your team named Saco until you get your first win, and then you can change it to whatever you'd like. But that's just the Constitution, man. Section 4. Teams that place 1 through 3 will receive draft picks 10, 9, 8 automatically for the next year. For the rest of the teams, they will play Week 16 for draft picks, and the draft picks 1 through 7. They will go in order of high score for Week 16. Okay? Waiver wire will open Week 16 for everyone as follows. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can look at the details as it comes up. So draft pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will be distributed for high scores for Week 16. So you want to set your roster Week 16 so you can get that first overall pick for the following season. So we will already know rounds 1 and 2 placement of where you'll be drafting for the following year on Week 16. Section 5, champions of the Man's League and Fantasy Challenge Champ, MVP, most points for, People's Choice Awards will all be in the Man's League Hall of Fame. If you haven't seen the Man's League Hall of Fame, I don't know what's wrong with you. You should see that by now. Most points against can choose who they play Week 1 before drafting. For example, Leo had the most points scored against him, and he's already chosen to have his week 1 matchup be against MA. So it's just a kind of a little bonus that they get to choose who they get to play week 1. Article 7, Section 1. Week 17 is Man's League's Pro Bowl between the divisions. The divisions will select players from their division to fill one team to play against each other. Best record for each division will be head coach, making the final decisions and controlling the team. The MVP for the Pro Bowl, which will be the player who scores the most points, whoever's roster that came from, we'll get to choose the place that we get to go eat. Now, keep in mind, everybody gets $10 to go eat, so if they want to spend more, that's fine, but generally, you want to keep that an idea, and they'll be in charge of planning the dinner and restaurant area. Kind of going into detail of what the Pro Bowl looks like. That'll be week 17, and we'll have 2 divisions. The 2 divisions will decide. You basically have the pool of players that are from those divisions, and you'll make one team, and the other division will do the exact same, and those 2 teams will play each other, and the winner will receive the cash reward. And the MVP obviously has to be on the winning team as well. Let's see here. Okay. And then Section 2, what gets posted on the man's wall stays confidential. No owner is allowed to negotiate, plot, or plan with another in sharing or splitting any monetary rewards. This also includes any monetary or non-monetary values attached to trades, waiver order, or final placement. So basically, there's no collusion. You can't say, okay, me and you are in the Super Bowl, let's split the pot 50-50. That's not how it works. If any of that is brought to attention, then you're likely to get booted, which you don't want. So, and then that also goes with attachment to trades or using the waiver wire inappropriately, and you know what I'm talking about. And then final placement as well. So, final placement meaning draft picks or at the end of the season to figure out where you are. So I think that's about it, guys. This is gonna be the video on the Constitution, and I'll probably do a couple other videos in more depth. This one's really dry and boring, so hopefully I can bring up some better material. But comment or hit me up with any questions, and I'll try to answer them for you guys. Peace.